सर्वेभ्यः नमः। अद्य सिद्धान्तकौमुद्याः हल्सन्धि प्रकरणे अनुस्वारस्य परसवर्णः इति सूत्रविषयः अनुवर्तते। येनाक्षरसमां नायम् अधिगम्य महेश्वरात् कृत्स्नं व्याकरणं प्रोक्तं तस्मै पाणिनये नमः। वाक्यकारं वररुचिं भाष्यकारं पतञ्जलिं पाणिनिं सूत्रकारं च प्रणतोऽस्मि मुनित्रयं नमस्कृत्य तदुक्तिः परिभाव्य च वैयाकरणसिद्धान्तकौमुदीयं विरच्यते। बहवः हल्सन्धयः अधीताः। श्चुत्वसन्धेः आरभ्य श्चुत्वं ष्टुत्वं जस्त्वं ततः अनुनासिकसन्धिः पूर्वसवर्णसन्धिः परसवर्णसन्धिः ततः पूर्वसवर्णसन्धिः उदस्थास्तम्भोः पूर्वस्य इति सूत्रेण उद् इति उपसर्गात् परयोः स्थास्तम्भधातोः पूर्वसवर्णः आदेशः विधीयते। तच्च आदेः परस्य इत्यनेन आदेः सकारस्य बाह्यप्रयत्न आन्तरतम्यात् थकारः आदेशः भवति। उत्थानम् उत्तम्भनम् इति उदाहरणानि। तथा जयोहोन्यतरस्याम् इत्यनेन जयः परस्य हकारस्यापि पूर्वसवर्णः विधीयते। हकारस्य तु आन्तरतम्यात् वर्गस्य चतुर्थाक्षरः आदेशः भवति। वाग्घरिः तद्धितम् इत्यादीनि उदाहरणानि। ततः छत्तसन्धिः षष्ठोटि इति सूत्रेण विहितः। शः छः अटि पदान्ताज्झयः परस्य शस्य छकारादेशः स्यात् अटिपरे इति सूत्रार्थः। चर्त्वसन्धिः खरि च इत्यनेन विधीयते। खरिपरे झलां चरः स्युः इत्यनेन प्रथमवर्गाणाम् आद्यक्षराः आदेशाः भवन्ति। Sorry. I did not understand the question. Repeat the order of precedence for the first sutra means. What exactly do you mean by order of precedence?
According to Ashtadhyayi, like which, first you convert tha to tha or jara jari, which one should come first?
With regarding to what, as in which sutra? The first means Udasthastambho. There we do, there is Udu plus Sthanam. First we apply Kharicha and convert the to ta. You have Utu Sthanam. Yes. And then Udasthastambho Purvasya would apply. We have Utu Th Thanam. Okay. And then there is Jharojhari Savarne. If there is Jharojhari Savarne, the Thakara gets deleted. We have Utthanam. Yes, if Jharojhari Savarne does not apply, we have Ut Th Thanam. Two Thakaras.
Okay. Yeah, I think I got you.
Is that clear? Or was that your question? Or anything? Okay.
Yeah, the other.
Sorry?
You said that it should be according to the rules in the Ashtadhyayi, the last one.
Correct. It should always be according to in the Tripadi, because in the Halsandhi we are dealing mostly with the sutras which are in the Tripadi. And when we are in the Tripadi, we should go apply sutras according to the order. For example, here in Udasthastambho Purvasya, Kharicha applies first because it is 8-4-55, I think Kharicha is. And then Udasthastambho Purvasya itself is 8-4-61. After which we have Jharojhari Savarne, which comes to 8-4-55, I think. 65. So we apply Kharicha first because it is the first sutra. Among these three, we have the choice for applying these three. There is Kharicha, there is Udasthastambho Purvasya, and there is Jharojhari Savarne. So the first thing which would apply is Kharicha, which is 55. Then we apply 61, which is Udasthastambho Purvasya. And then Jharojhari Savarne comes last because it is 65.
Okay. Thank you. I think
if we are doing the same thing with Chutva, Jastva, etc., where we first apply Jastva, which comes in 8-39, and then we do Chutva. Say, for example, in Satchit, we have Sat plus Chit. the first sutra which would be applied would be Jhalam Dashonte, which is 8-239. Then we apply Stohushchunashtuhu, which is 8-440. After that we again apply Kharicha, which is 8-455. And we have Satchita, Satu Chita, which is converted to Sadu Chita, then Shchutva to form Saj Chita, then again Chartva we get Sachi Chita, Satchita.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay, so Kharicha, iti Chartva Sandhihi. Pada Jhalam Khari pare Charahasyuhu, iti Sutrarthaha. Tataha Anuswara Sandhihi. सूत्रद्वयम् अस्ति मोनुस्वारः तथा नष्टापदान्तस्य झलि मोनुस्वारः इत्यनेन पदान्तस्य मकारस्य अनुस्वारः विधीयते नष्टापदान्तस्य झलि इत्यनेन पदस्य मध्ये विद्यमानस्य नकारस्य मकारस्य च अनुस्वारः विधीयते अनुस्वारे कृते अनुस्वारस्य यै परसवर्णः यै वर्णे परे अनुस्वारस्य परसवर्णः आदेशः भवति इति सूत्रार्थः एतत्तु अधीतं यथा अंकितः अंचितः कुण्ठितः शान्तः गुम्फितः इह सर्वत्र पदस्य मध्ये सन्धिः वर्तते one thing you should know that all the examples given here are within a pada and anuswara has therefore been derived either from has been derived either from a nakara or from a makara using the sutra nashtapadantasya jhali. Once we get the anuswara using nashtapadantasya jhali, it is converted to the fifth letter of the corresponding varga, whatever varga that follows. So ankitaha, anchitaha, kuntitaha, shantaha and gumpitaha. This sutra is not optional. So it is compulsorily ankitaha is written as a nakara and kakara and not with an anuswara. Wherever we have an anuswara in between a word, it is compulsorily converted to the fifth letter of the varga, provided vargiya vyanjanas follow. Right? We also saw how to derive these some of these and shantaha. Next, there is a question which Dikshita raises. Dukring karane kru dhatuh karoti kurutaha kurvanti. Tasya prathama lati prathama vibhakto bahuvachane kurvanti iti rupam asti. Tasya katham sadhutvam iti prashnah. Yatohi kurvanti ityasti. Rephaha asti. Rephaha vakaraha tataha nakaraha. Atkupvangnum vyapayepi iti sutram asti. Natva vidhayakam sutram. Tena atra nakarasya natvam bhavatu iti prashnah. So the question is, we have kurvanti. Kurvanti is the actual form of kru dhatu in lat lakara prathama purusha bahuvachana. The question is, since there is a sutra called atkupvangnum vyavayepi, which we would study in the Shabda Prakaranam, this sutra basically tells there is rashabhyam nona samanapade. Wherever there is a repha or a shakara, if there is a nakara following, it is converted to nakara. Also, if the repha and nakara are separated by a few characters which belong to at, that is a to hayavarat, kavarga, pavarga, ang and num. If the repha and nakara are separated by these characters, then also the nakara is converted to nakara. An example of this would see in Ramena. You have Rama, Ina, Ramena, where repha is there. After that we have a, akara, makara, ekara. There are three characters which separate repha and nakara, but all of them belong to this. Akara is at, makara is pavarga, and ekara is again at. Because of that, the na is converted to na. So it's a general sutra which applies everywhere. If we apply the sutra here, we have kur, there is a repha, and there is vakara which is at, akara which is also at, and then you have nakara. So since the repha and nakara are separated by only at letters, the nakara has to be converted to nakara. So why is there no natva here is the question. Atkupvangnum vyavayepi iti sutrena repham nimitti kritya nakarasya natvam prapnoti kuto na bhavati iti prashnah. So we have to see the numbers here. There is nashtapadantasya jhali, there is atkupvangnum vyavayepi and anuswarasya parasavarnah. These are the numbers. Nashtapadantasya jhali is in the third pada, 8-3-34. Atkupvangnam vyavayepi is the second sutra of the fourth pada, the last pada of Ashtadhyayi, 8-4-2. And anuswarasya parasavarnah comes towards the end of the pada, 8-4-58. Right? Now what's happening here? You have kurvanti. There is a lot of pakriya before it, but now let's start with kurvanti. There. Now the question is, what should we apply here? Should we do natva or should we do anuswara? Because here using nashta padantasya you have an option of doing anuswara, and using rashabhyam nona samanapade we can do natva. Which of these should we do? Nashta padantasya is earlier. So purvatra siddham ityanena natvasya asiddhatvat natvam atra kartum na shakyate natvasya asiddhatvat anuswaraha eva karaniyah. Because nashta padantasya chali comes before atkupvangnam, we have to use nashta padantasya chali. So if we do nashta padantasya chali, we get anuswara. Right? So adau natvasya asiddhatvad anuswaraha. Since you the sutra atkupvangnam is asiddha to nashta padantasya chali, we have to apply nashta padantasya chali and we convert the nakara to anuswara. Right? Now once we have anuswara, you cannot do natva because there is no nakara. Aduna nakarasya abhavena natvasya praptihi nasti. Now you cannot do natva. Right? Next, what is the next option? Kurvanti. Idanim anuswarasya yai parasavarnaha ityanena anuswarasya nakaraha kriyate. Nakaradeshaha. Takare pare anuswarasya nakaradeshaha. Right? So we did nakara. Now nakara is here, but tasya asiddhatvat. As far as atkupvangnam is considered, anuswarasya yai parasavarnaha does not exist, because it comes before anuswarasya yai parasavarnaha. 842 is atkupvangnam vyapi. So atkupvangnam vyapi sees only the anuswara. It thinks that anuswara is there, and since there is no nakara, it cannot apply to convert the nakara to nakara. But we know that there is a sutra later, so we convert the anuswara to nakara and we end up with kurvanti. Right? So this answers, this is one of the examples of how much thought should have gone into the construction of Panini Sutra. Because if there is kurvanti, the obvious question is, why should you do anuswara and then come back and do a nakara? It's still the same. Even here you had kurvanti and here also you have kurvanti. For us there is no change, as in there is no change in the visible form. But still this has to be done because we are trying to prevent the natva. If this is not there, then we cannot prevent natva. It should have been kurvanti and not kurvanti, but the form which exists is kurvanti. So because of that we do anuswara and we do nakara. So even in cases where there is originally nakara, still we do anuswara and then convert it back to nakara, because the point would be to prevent some other intermediate sutra like this. Right? So dikshitaihi uktam kurvanti ityatra natve prapte. अस्याम दशायाम कुर्वन्ति इत्यत्र नाट्वे प्राप्ते तस्य असिद्धत्वात् नश्चापदान्तस्य झलि इति सूत्रं प्रति अट्कुप्वाङ्गं व्यवायेपि इति परसूत्रस्य असिद्धत्वात् अनुस्वारे नश्चापदान्तस्य झलि इत्यनेन अनुस्वारे कृते ततः परसवर्णे च कृते अनुस्वारस्य ययि परसवर्णे इति परसवर्णे कृते तस्य असिद्धत्वात् परसवर्णस्य असिद्धत्वात् न नत्वं, not nanum, it has to be natvam. We do not get natva because of this. Right? Is this clear? Any questions? Okay, thank you. So shall we follow? Agrimam sutram bhavati va padantasya iti anuswarasya yai parasavarnaha va padantasya. The meaning is very obvious. That is why, these are the cases where we need ashtadhyayi. There is the Kaumudi pattern and there is the ashtadhyayi pattern. We need both. As in, if you have the ashtadhyayi pattern, sometimes the meaning is very clear. Anuswarasya yai parasavarnaha va padantasya. If you know this without any other explanation, the meaning is very, very clear. Anuswarasya yai pare parasavarnaha bhavati, padantasya tu vikalpena bhavati. Over. If the anuswara is in between a pada, parasavarna is compulsory. If it is at the end of a pada, parasavarna is optional. Right? So padadvayamasti anusvarasya yai parasavarnah iti purnam anuvartate. Padantasya anusvarasya yai pare va parasavarnah iti अन्वयः. पदान्तस्य अनुस्वारस्य इति षष्ठी. पदान्ते विद्यमानः यः अनुस्वारः तस्य स्थाने ययि परे परसवर्णः भवति. वा इत्युक्तत्वात् विकल्पेन भवति. पदान्तस्य अनुस्वारस्य ययि परे परसवर्णः वा स्यात्. त्वं करोषि इत्यस्ति. मोनुस्वारः इत्यनेन मान्तस्य पदस्य अनुस्वारः स्यात् हलि. पदान्ते अनुस्वारश्चेत् मोनुस्वारः इति सूत्रेण इव. पदस्य मध्ये चेत् नश्चापदान्तस्य झलि इत्यनेन इव. So please remember some things which are very important and which generally we go wrong. So if there is an anuswara, there is always a confusion, which is the sutra to apply. So if it is padanta, it has to be monuswara. If it is in between a pada, it has to be nashtapadantasya chali. So since tvam is a pada, we use monuswara and convert the makara to anuswara. Now va padantasya iti sutrena vikalpena parasavarnah. Yadi parasavarnah bhavati tarhi tvam karoshi, na bhavati chet tvam karoshi iti ubhayam api sadhu. So in this case we can use both. We can either use the anuswara or use parasavarna. In the previous case, if it is in between a pada, then it has to be parasavarna only. Right? Etattu asti samyanta ityasti. Sam iti upasargah, yanta iti samyanta yamadhatuh. Yamadhatuh tris pratyayante yanta iti rupam. मोनुस्वारः इत्यनेन अनुस्वारः भवति. अनुस्वारे कृते इदानीं वा पदान्तस्य इत्यनेन परसवर्णः क्रियते. परसवर्णः नाम यकारस्य सवर्णः अनुनासिकः. अनुनासिकः यकारः क्रियते. यकारे कृते संयन्ता इति रूपं. तदभावे तु संयन्ता उभयमपि साधु. अतएव संयोगः संयोगः उभयं उपयुज्यते. प्रायेण वैयाकरणाः संयोगः इत्येव वदन्ति. अन्ये तु संयोगः इत्यपि वदन्ति. उभयं साधु. संयोगः संयोगः. संवत्सरः इति स्थिते वकारे परे अनुनासिकः वकारः आदेशः भवति चेत् संवत्सरः, नो चेत् संवत्सरः. यल्लोकं यं लोकं. यवलाः यवलानामेव अनुनासिकप्रभेदोऽपि अस्ति. तेषु परेषु पदान्ते यः मकारः अनुस्वारः तस्मात् यवलेषु परेषु अनुनासिकाः यवलाः आदेशाः भवन्ति. अत्र अनुस्वारस्य पक्षे अनुनासिकाः यवलाः आदेशाः भवन्ति इत्यर्थः. So this is parasavarna sandhi. Parasavarna for anuswara, which is compulsory in case of one single pada and optional if it is in between or if the anuswara is at the end of a pada. इदानीं मो राजि समः क्वौ चत्वारि पदानि सन्ति. महा राजि समः क्वौ इत्यर्थः. मोनुस्वारः इत्यतः महा इति अनुवर्तते. पदद्वयमस्ति. महा इति सूत्रेपि अस्ति. मोनुस्वारः इत्यत्रापि महा इति अनुवर्तते. यः अनुवर्तते मोनुस्वारः इत्यतः महा मकारस्य इति षष्ठ्यन्तम् अनुवर्तते. समः महा. समः इत्यपि षष्ठी, महा इत्यपि षष्ठी. समः नाम सम् इत्युपसर्गस्य यः मकारः तस्य. समः महा. सम् इति उपसर्गस्य यः मकारः तस्य स्थाने क्वौ राजि इति उभयमपि सप्तमी. क्वौ इति क्विप् इति प्रत्ययः अस्ति. क्विबन्तः इति उच्यते. क्विबन्ते राजधातौ परे. धातुभ्यः सर्वेभ्यः धातुभ्यः क्विप् इति प्रत्ययः विधीयते. क्विबन्ते राजि अर्थात् राजधातौ परे. सम् इति उपसर्गात् राजधातौ परे. सम् इति उपसर्गस्य यः मकारः तस्य स्थाने महा इति प्रथमा. You have to see there are two mahas. One maha is an akaranta pada. The maha which is heard in this sutra is akaranta and it is prathama vibhakti. Whereas the maha which we are getting from monuswaraha is makaranta. That is, the pada itself is makaranta. Means it's a halanta shabda and it is shashti vibhakti. So it says masya maha, makarasya sthane makara eva bhavati. Sama iti upasargat kvibante rajdhatau pare masya maha, makarasya makara eva bhavati. Kvibante rajatau pare samaha masya ma eva syat. Arthat अनुस्वारः न भवति इत्यर्थः. सम्राट् इत्यस्ति. सम्राट् इति पदं तु बहु प्रसिद्धम्. एम्परर् इत्यर्थे उपयुज्यते सम्राट्. सम इति उपसर्गात् राज विबन्तः राजधातुः राट् राजौ राजः इति भवति. सम् इत्यस्मात् राट् इत्यस्मिन् परे मस्य मयेव स्यात्, मकारस्य स्थाने मकार एव भवति. कः अर्थः? अनुस्वारः न भवति इत्यर्थः. This sutra is there. It tells the makara is replaced by makara. Why? To prevent the anuswara. If in the absence of this sutra, by monuswara, it should have been samrat. That is there should have been anuswara, but there is no anuswara and the makara remains as it is. It does not remain. It is replaced by another makara. Right? Now the question is, once you replace makara with makara, and then the monuswaraha will not apply. Right? There are three sutras which tell this. To prevent the anuswara, Panini says replace the makara with another makara. Right? Mo raji samaha kvau. Kvivante rajatau pare samo masya ma eva syat. Grimam sutram bhavati. He mapare va. Padatrayam asti. मोनुस्वारः इत्यतः महा इति अनुवर्तते. मोराजि समः को इत्यतः अपि महा इति अनुवर्तते. मकारस्य मकार एव भवति. वा इत्युक्तत्वात् विकल्पेन भवति. कदा? महा इति षष्ठी. मकारस्य स्थाने महा इति प्रथमा. मकार एव भवति. कदा? मपरे हे इति उभयमपि सप्तमी. मकारपरे हकारे. It is when you have a makara which is followed by hakara which is followed by makara. That is, when followed by a makara which in turn is followed by a hakara which in turn is followed by a makara, there is no anuswara. That is optionally. I will see the example, then it will be clearer. Mapare hakare pare masya maeva syat va. Hvala mala chalane iti dvau dhatu. There are two dhatus. One is hvala chalane and the other is mala chalane. I did not understand the question. Which verbs? This sutra does not mention any verb. The previous sutra said it is only for one verb, which is raj dhatu. But this could apply for anything which has a hakara followed by makara. Right? An example here being given here is mala chalane. Malayati iti chalati ityarthe mala dhatuh asti. Idanim अत्रैव अस्ति. किं मलयति. किं चलति इत्यर्थे किं मलयति इत्यर्थे अथवा किं चालयति इत्यर्थे मकारः अस्ति. पदान्ते मकारः. ततः हकारः अस्ति. हकारात् परे मकारः. मपरे हे अर्थात् मकारः परः यस्मात् सः मपरः. मपरे हकारे परे पूर्वस्य मकारस्य म एव भवति. अर्थात् किं मलयति इत्येव रूपं. विकल्पेन अथवा वा इत्युक्तत्वात् तदभावे मोनुस्मारः इत्यनेन अनुस्वारे किं मलयति इति रूपम्. यवलपरे यवला वेति वक्तव्यम्. This is a vartika which is an addendum to hema pareva. Yavalaparaके hakare pare masya yavalaha vasyuhu ityarthah. If there is hakara, the previous sutra said when there is a hakara followed by makara. This vartika tells if there is a hakara which is followed by ya, va, la, then the previous makara will get ya, va, la as the adesha, is what this vartika tells. Here we use yatha sankhya manudesha samanam. Purvatraiva bahutra asmabihi prayuktah yatha sankhya manudesha samanam. We have used this sutra many times, but Dikshitar introduces here. We all know the sutra. Padatrayam asti samasambandhi vidhi yatha sankham syat. Wherever there is a vidhi which is dependent on two things, either the sthani adesha or sthani nimitta, when any of these are in equal numbers, then we take respectively. That is, the first one will be the adesha for the first or will be the nimitta for the first, and so on. Right? So we have used it in many cases, but the thing is, wherever we used yatha sankhya manudesha samanam earlier, usually we could decide by sthanataha antaratamya or some other means. But in this case, he wants, we cannot decide on any other basis, so he uses yatha sankhya manudesha samana. But we have to use this in echo yavayavaha also. There also we can apply this sutra. We have to apply this sutra to derive the proper adesha combination. Dikshitar introduces here. That's all. So kim hyaha ityasti. Makarasya makarat parataha hakaraha asti. Hakarat paratvena punaha yakaraha. Yavalapare yavalaveti vaktavyam ityuktam. Hakarat paratvena yakaraha asti chet makarasya sthane yakaraha adeshaha bhavati. Sacha yakaraha samyat anunasikaha yakaraha kihnyaha kihnyaha iti yakaraha tadabhave tu monaswaraha ityanena anusware kim hyaha evameva kim hvalayati ityasti chet vakaraparake hakare pare makarasya sthane anunasikaha vakaraha kim hvalayati iti athava anusware kim hvalayati kim ladayati ityasti chet लकारपरके हकारे परे मकारस्य अनुनासिकः लकारः आदेशः भवति तदा तु किं लादयति इति रूपम् अनुस्वारे किं लादयति इति रूपद्वयं सिद्ध्यति. Okay, Ravichandran has a question. When you have Sama and Raj, what prevents Monaswaraha from acting and converting it to Anuswara? That is, the Moraji Samahko is an apavada to Monaswaraha, because Monaswaraha would have applied, but it is an exception to Monaswaraha. It says if the Makara is of Samdhatu, Sam Upasarga followed by a Kvibanta Rajadhatu, then it has to be Makara only. It is replaced by Makara instead of being replaced by Anuswara. It is an exception to Monaswaraha. Okay. Okay. So Agrimam Sutram Bhavati Napare Naha. So you have to remember the order. If you know the order, in many cases the Prakaranam becomes very clear. He says Monuswaraha, Moraji Samahko, and Hema Pareva, Yavalapare Yavalaveti Vaktavyam, Napare Naha. All of these are of the same kind. Napare Naha. So Padadvayam asti. Monuswaraha ityataha Maha iti, Hema Pareva ityataha He iti Va iti cha anuvartate. Maha iti Shashti. Makarasya sthane Napare He. Nakaraha paraha yasmat saha naparaha tadrishe hakare pare naha arthat nakara eva bhavati. Makarasya sthane nakaraha adeshaha bhavati vikalpena. Napare hakare pare masya naha syad va vikalpena bhavati. Kim hnute ityasti kin hnute iti nakarasya adeshaha. Sorry, this is not anuswara. This should be makara. Kim and hnute, the makara is converted to nakara directly. It becomes kin hnute. In the absence of it, it is converted to anuswara. Then it becomes kim hnute. Right. So all this monuswaraha is the general sutra. As an exception to that, you have moraji samahko. If it is samrat, then makara stays as makara. If it is mapare he malayati, then the makara is optionally remains as makara and optionally it is converted to anuswara. If the hakara is followed by ya va la, then the makara before it is also converted to ya va la optionally. In the other case, it would be anuswara. if the hakara is followed by nakara, then the makara is optionally converted to nakara, kinhnute, and in the other case it would be anuswara. Right? Except in samrat. In samrat there is no anuswara form. It has to be always a makara. In all other cases there is an anuswara form and there is also another form with either makara, ya, va, la or na. Right? Hope it is clear so far. This is where we finish the adeshas. That is the wherever the sandhi is an adesha. I told you in the beginning. Okay. Is there a question? Yes, Moraji Samahkov, the only example has to be Samrat because it says Sam Upasarga followed by Kvibanta Rajdhatu. The whole of Samrat Shabda, not only one form, that is not only Samrat, Samrat, Samrajo, Samrajaha, He Samrat, He Samrajo, He Samrajaha. You have 24 forms derived from Samrat. In all those forms, that sutra applies, but there is no other example for that sutra. Okay, Vasuji.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Does any of these rules settle the debate about Sanskritam?
No, Sanskritam will come later. There is some more things which will happen with in case of Sanskritam.
Oh, okay.
Because there is, I mean, the root there is only sam and kr. There is an extra sakara coming. There is an anuswara. There is anunasika. Lot of things.
Okay. Thank you.
We'll see that later. Okay. Okay. So what I was saying is when we started with sandhikaryas, we saw that there are three kinds of sandhikaryas which can happen. Right? One is adesha, one is agama, and the other is lopa. So the majority of things we have studied so far are adeshas. Right? Have we studied any agama so far? Agama. No, we haven't studied any agama. All the sandhis we studied, all ach sandhis, starting from yan, yantavanta desha, guna, vriddhi, purva savarna, I mean purva rupa, pararupa and savarna dirgha. All of them are adeshas. That is, one thing is replaced by the other. There is also no lopa. We studied only one lopa karya, which is lopa shakalyasya. Once we do echo yavayavaha, there is a lopa. Right? So, and again in Hal Sandhis we have studied so far, we have Shchutva, Shtutva, Jastva, Chartva, Chatva, Anunasika, Anuswara, Purva Savarna, Parasavarna, all these are Adeshas. The Karya, the Sandhi Karya is Adesha. That is the replacement of one letter by the other. Right? But now we start with the Agamas. It is in Hal Sandhis we also have Agamas where there is the addition of a new letter. Okay. So the first sutra in that series is Mnohu Kuktuk Shari. Padatrayam asti Mnohu Kuktuk Shari. Hema pareva ityataha va iti anuvartate. Mnohu iti shashti. Nakara nakarayohu. Shari iti saptami. Shar varne pare. Shar ityukte sha sha sa iti trayah varnaha. Teshu varneshu pareshu. Kuk tuk iti agamo bhavataha. Agamaha tridha. There are three kinds of agamas which we studied long ago in the Samya Prakarana. Right? What are the three kinds of agamas? Anybody? Which are the three kinds of agamas? Okay, Vasuji?
Idagama, Adagama.
No. I mean, there are not only three. I mean, if you list like that, we can list lots. There is at, there is it, there is nut, there is lot of things. Three kinds. What are the categories to which they belong to? What you told were correct. They are all agamas, correct, but they are not the kinds or categories of agamas.
Namaste. Adyantau takitau. Adyantau takitau, and then with the ma, it should come in the between. Adyantau takitau.
So tit, kit and mit. So there are three kinds of agamas. They can be either tit or kit or mit. Right? That is the agamas generally. They are not the only three kinds. There are some very rare cases where there might be some other agama also. But generally, agamas are of three kinds. Okay, tit, kit or mit. That is, they either have takara as their anubandha or itsamya. They have kakara or makara. The agamas are identified by their anubandha letters, which can be either takara, kakara or makara. That is when they are called tit, kit and mit. Okay, so the anubandhas also decide the position of the agama. That should it be added before the particle, after the particle, or in between the particle is also decided by this tit, kit and mit. As she mentioned, we have two paribhashas dealing with it. One is adyantau takitau and the other is midachontyaat paraha. Adyantau takitau tells if the agama is either tit or kit, that is if the if it is a tit agama, then it would be tit agama adyantau takitau. It would be an adya vayava, that it should be added before the particle, whatever the agama is being added to. If it is a kit agama, it should be added at the end. That is antau, adyantau takitau. If it is a mit agama, it is added after the last swara, last ach of the particle. Right? So once we know that, we have two agamas here, which is kuk and tuk. Both of these are kit. That is, the last kakara gets its samnya by halantyam. Therefore, both of these are kit agamas. Va iti vikalpena bhavatah nakara nakarayoh kuk tukau agamau vastaha shari. Yathasankhyatvata nakarasya kuk agamah, nakarasya tuk agamah. So either yathasankhya or you can have sthanatah antaratam. Here you can have yathasankhya. Ngnoho kuk tuk. Nakarasya kuk iti agamah bhavati. Nakarasya tuk iti agamah bhavati. Kuk ityukte kim? K. So actually, even though he says it is a kuk agama, the actual letter which is being added is only the kakara. The kakara in the beginning. There are two kakaras, please don't get confused. The kakara at the end gets its samnya by halantyam and the ukara gets its samnya by upadeshya janunasika. Both of them are deleted by tasya lopaha. So what we end up, what remains is only the kakara at the beginning. Okay? So that is what is actually added on to the particle. So this is kit because the final kakara gets its samnya by halantyam. Similarly, tuk means takara. Right? So this is also kit. Don't get confused between kit and tit. This is not tit, this is kit. Because here also the final kakara gets its samnya by halantyam and ukara gets its samnya by upadeshya janunasika. Tasya lopaha iti uphayohu lopaha ubhavapi kitau. Both these are kit agamas. Adyantau iti takitau iti paribhashaya nakara nakarabhyam paratah ayam agamah bhavati. Prang shashtha ityasti. Nakarah asti agre sharvarnah asti. Shakarah sharvarnah. Tadanim nakarasya paratah nakarat paratvena kakarah agamah. Prang k shashtha. एवमेव सुगण षष्ठः इत्यस्ति चेत् नकारात् परत्वेन टकारः आगमः क्रियते सुगण ट षष्ठः. गणोः कुक्टुक् शरि इत्यनेन अत्र नकारात् परत्वेन ककारागमः, अत्र नकारात् परत्वेन टकारागमः. कुक्टुकोः असिद्धत्वात् जस्त्वं न. Once we do this, since this is pada, salam jashonte ityanena jastvam bhavatu ityashanka. Can we do jastva to this kakara and takara? Is the question. Asiddhatvat. If you're seeing no kuktuk shari comes in the third pada, 8-3, 28 or something. So and the salam jashonte is in the previous pada, 8-39. So asiddhatvat, kuktuko asiddhatvat jastvam na bhavati. इदानीं वार्तिकमेकमस्ति चयो द्वितीयाः शरि पौष्करसादेः इति वाच्यम् पौष्करसादिः नाम कश्चन आचार्यः तस्य मते शरिपरे चैवर्णानां स्थाने वर्गद्वितीयाः आदेशाः भवन्ति. So this is not only when we have this agama. In any case, and this is very frequently found in the Vedas, wherever you have a chaivarna, that is the cha, ta, ta, ka, pa, the first letter of the varga is followed by shar, that is shar, shar, sa. Then the first letter is replaced by the second letter of the varga. Okay, so you see that very well where you have I don't remember the exact places. If you have tat and saha, it would become tat saha, where the ta is converted to th. Is seen very frequently in the Vedas. Even in the Loka you have it. So this is a Vartika and it is an optional Vartika. So there is one more example which Ravi is given. Sarvant Kamant Saha, where you have Nakara, there is a T and it is converted to Th, Kamant Saha. Right? So this is seen pretty frequently. Wherever you have the first letter of the Varga which is followed by Shar, that is Shar, Shar, Sa, it is converted to the second letter of the Varga. Right? So Prang K Shashtha ityasti. Nakarat Kuk Agame Krute Prang K Shashtha ityasti. Kakarasya sthane Dvitiyaha. Arthat Kakare Adeshe Prang K Shashtha. एवमेव सुगंट षष्ठः इत्यासीत् द्वितीयादेशे सुगंट षष्ठः. So since both these are optional, the kuk agama is also optional and the conversion of the first letter to the second letter is also optional. So we end up with three forms. Prank shashtha, where we have the agama and it is converted to second letter. Prank shashtha, where we have the agama, it is not converted to second, and there is no agama at all. Prang shashtha iti rupatrayam siddhyati. Evameva sugant shashtha, sugant shashtha, sugan shashtha iti rupatrayam siddhyati. So agrimam sutram bhavati agama vidhayakam dassidhut. Paratrayam asti daha si dhut iti hem apareva ityatah va iti anuvartate. Atra prashnaha. Now if you see, we generally analyze the sutras as saying daha si dhut. Now daha is panchami, right, and si is saptami. Daha here is not shashti, it is panchami as determined by the vyakhyanas, and there is also many reasons. So you have daha iti panchami. Panchamyaha kaha arthaha tasmaditi uttarasya nakarat parasya ityarthaha. Si iti saptami. Saptamyaha arthaha tasmin iti nirdishte purvasya. Now daha means dakarat parasya and si means sakare pare. Right? So you have something following dakara and which is followed by sakara. Right? That is the meaning we get directly from the sutra. There is dakara, following dakara there is something which is in turn followed by a sakara. Dakarat parasya sakare pare. But what is that which is followed by dakara? He does not tell. There is no shashti. If there is no shashti, there is no adesha agama. No karya can happen unless there is a shashti. Shashti sthane, asya sthane karyam bhavati. We can have panchami or saptami is optional. We can have sutras where there is no panchami which is declared or there is no saptami which is declared. But there cannot be any karya where there is no shashti declared. Simply because it is for the shashti which you are doing the karya. The panchami and saptami are always nimittas. That is, they can either be the preceding letter or the following letter, but we need to have something which gets the karya, which is shashti. Right? But when Panini puts his sutra like this, where there is no panchami, I mean there is no shashti, what do? There is a panchami and there is a saptami, and in between there is nothing. He says dakarat parasya and sakare pare, but what is there in between? There is nothing. The example we see here is there is nothing in between. There is dakara and there is sakara. There is nothing in between. So what do we do when there is both panchami and saptami and there is no shashti? Is the question. Tada eka paribhasha upayujyate ubhaya nirdeshe panchami nirdesho baliyan. If there is both panchami and saptami in a sutra and there is no shashti, then panchami nirdesha baliyan. Panchami nirdesha is stronger, means panchami retains its meaning. Daha is panchami means dat parasya. The saptami is converted to shashti, that is, it is transformed to shashti. So here the meaning would be daha means panchami, which means dakarat parasya. See, the saptami shashtya viparinamyate. It is converted to shashti in this sutra and it gives the meaning of sakarasya. Dhut iti agamaha bhavati. So the C of saptami is converted to shashti. So dakarat parasya sakarasya dhut iti agamaha bhavati. Now the sthani is sakara. Dat parasya sasya dhut vasyat. Dhut iti tit agamaha. If you see here it says dhut, but it is dhut. The takara gets its samya by halantyam and lopa. So this agama is tit. Since it is tit, adyantau takitau iti paribhashaya sakarasya adau dhudagama kriyate. The dhut is applied to the beginning or before sakara. You have shashu santaha. Shashu iti shakarantam pratipadikam. Shashu santaha ityasti. Jharam jashonte ityanena jastam kriyate. Shad santaha ityasti. Dat dakarat parasya sakarasya dhut iti agamaha kriyate. Shad dh santaha. Dassi dhut ityanena dhakaragamaha. Shad t santaha. Idanim asya dhakarasya kharicha. Kharipare jhalam charahasyuhu ityanena takaraha kriyate. Shad t santaha. Asmin takare pare asya dakarasya kharicha ityanena takaraha chartvam kriyate. Tadatu shat t santaha. Dhudagama bhave shat santaha. Shat santaha. Shat santaha. Iti rupadvayam siddhyati. Clear? Next sutra is nascha. Paradvayam asti. Nascha. Dasti dhut nascha. Very clear. When dakara is followed by sakara, there is dhudagama. Nascha. Also when nakara is followed by sakara, there is dhudagama. Dasi dhut ityataha si iti dhut iti cha anuvartate. Hem apareva ityataha va iti anuvartate. Naha iti panchami nakarat parasya. Si iti saptami punaha shashtya viparinamyate sakarasya. Dhut dhudagamaha bhavati. Nakarantat parasya sasya vikalpena dhudagamaha bhavati. San saha ityasti nakarat parasya sasya ityuktvatvat san dh saha nascha ityanena dhudagamaha kriyate. Tasya kharicha ityanena chartve sant saha iti rupam. Dhudagama bhave san saha ityeva. Okay, I'll explain again. So the question, is this clear? Any other questions? Julia wants me to explain that conversion of saptami to shashti. But any other questions so far? Okay, so let me explain Ubhay Nirdeshe Saptami Nirdesho Baliyan again, where you have Dasi Dhut, where you have one pada in Panchami and one in Saptami. Right? Daha is Panchami and Si is Saptami. If you notice in all other sutras, Iko Yanachi has Saptami, which is Achi. Achi pare Yanaha Bhavati. Yanaha is Shashti, Ikaha is Shashti and Achi is Saptami. Or if you have Udasthastambhohu, you have Panchami. Udaha is Panchami and Sthastambhohu is Shashti. So generally what the combination is either Panchami and Shashti or Shashti and Saptami. There are few cases where you have Panchami, Shashti, Saptami. That is when there is A which is followed by B, which is in turn followed by C, B will get the karya. Right? So there are the two cases possible. I mean, there are the three cases which you usually find. You have either Panchami and Shashti. If A is followed by B, then B will get the sthana where B is in Shashti. Or you have Shashti and Saptami. When A is followed by B, A will get the karya. Or you have Panchami, Shashti, Saptami, A plus B plus C, where B will get the karya. When B is preceded by A and followed by B, you will get the karya. So they are the cases which are usually seen. But here what you have is you have A and you have C. That is, you have a Panchami and you have a Saptami, but there is no Shashti. There is nothing in between. You see, the example you have is Shashu Santa or Shadu Santaha, where there is Dakara and there is Sakara. There is nothing in between which can get the karya. Right? That is also not intended. There is nothing which Panini intends there. Okay. So why doesn't he use Shashti directly? There is a reason. Because the Saptami is needed elsewhere. As you go on, both Panchami and Saptami will be used in the further sutras in their actual meaning. It is only in this case where there is a confusion. Okay. When you have both Panchami and Saptami, it says Ubhaya Nirdeshe. That is, when you have both Panchami and Saptami, Tadanim to Panchami Nirdesha Baliyan. Panchami gets precedence because it is a Parasutra. Tasminnati Nirdishte Purvasya and Tasmadit Yuttarasya. So Panchami is stronger. So the meaning of Panchami remains as it is. Dakarat Parasya. Parasya Kasya Ityuktatvat. C is actually Saptami. We convert it into Shashti. Because we take it as Shashti. So it means Sakarasya, not Sakare Pare. So Dakarat Parasya Sasya, Dat Parasya Sasya, Dhudagamaha Bhavati. Ityarthaha. Okay. Any other questions? Ravi, Agama in Bhrasja Pake, which Agama are you talking about? I'm sorry, I don't remember.
That is Ramagama, where we do some part Adesha and part Agama. Bhrastyo Repadayo Ramanyatarasya.
Repadayo Ramanyatarasya, but it is still Ram Agama, no?
Yes, but it also does some kind of Adesha. It removes, there is a lopa happening there.
Correct, yeah. But I mean, there are some agamas which are not mit or tit or kit. In here it is still Ram agama. There is an agama, I don't remember exactly what, which do not belong to either tit, kit or mit. He uses some other anubandha. Okay. I don't remember it exactly now.
Sure. Okay.
There's a question. We use the Sakarasya in the following sutras. We take C as the Anuvritti. There, if there is Panchami, the C might again be converted to Sakarasya, as we see in Nashcha, or it can also be used just as C. Sakare Pare Ityapi Bhavati. I have to see that Prakaranam. I don't remember where it is used, but somewhere where it should be used. Okay.
Can you please explain how you get that shad for as when you use jalam disho ante? I didn't get that. From shash, how do you get shad?
Okay. Her question is, I said jalam jashante and converted shakara to dakara. How? Can anybody answer? How is shash converted to shad? Any volunteers? I think Vasu had a question before, so I'll...
Soumyaji, I had a question. I had a question. if you want to discuss this on the Jalam Jashonte, and we can come back later. The question on the previous sutra, it's purely out of my ignorance. If that sutra stands out as a separate sutra, I would have taken that if the dakara is followed, if the dakara sees the sakara, the dut is the agama instruction.
Correct. But where?
In between.
In between, there is no, you cannot say in between. How do you say in between is the question.
Because it's
even if you do,
it's always after the Panchami and before the Saptami.
Correct.
So that, and because of that, I struggle to understand the issue. And if I'm correct,
that could be done, but as he says, if there is Panchami and Saptami, so put the Agama in between is his question. But then the Agama would not belong either to the first part or to the second part. There is a difference, because if you are doing an Agama for Sakara, then the Dhut is a part of the Para, right? So there are cases where we use, maybe in this particular case there is no application, but you see that the Agama always is a part, it becomes an integral part of whatever it is applied to. That is why it is very important to determine where the Agama is, right? So, I mean, if that is why Panini also uses the tikit and kit. Okay, even if we are doing the Agama in between, it does not stand separately. This Agama belongs to Sakara. If it were an Agama to Dakara, it would belong to the Dakara. Okay, so there are many cases where it matters. Is this takara at the end of a pada or at the beginning of a pada? There are many other matters which depend on, as you know, there are many sutras which would apply for padanta or for padadi. So to decide that an agama has to belong to either the para or to the purva. It cannot stand in between without being associated to anything. So if we don't have a shashti, we will not know what is it that the agama has to be associated with. Did I make myself clear?
Yes.
We should take an example.
Yes. You know, it's, as you said, it's if there is a Vartikam on it, obviously they know better than what others can figure out.
No, that should not be our answer. True that the Vyakaranas know better, but we should also try to understand why they go into so much of pain, or why they take so much pains for what seems like a small matter to us. That is, as you said, correct. I mean, it would feel like that. So why to break your head? Just put it in the middle. It will work for some examples. That is why we call them as the Lakshaika Chakshushkaha. That is, they keep in mind all the prayogas. So if there is some prayoga somewhere which will go wrong because of this, they try to set it right here. And we generally do not know that prayoga. We see only what is the example right in front of us, and we think, okay, doing anyway might be correct. But that example would pose problem some other case. So that is why that decision is taken. Shastra is always for nirnaya, where it has to decide that, okay, the dh here, the dhutagama belongs to sakara, and say there is tukagama which belongs to the previous thing, because it poses problems. I am also not expert enough to know where the problem is or what, but yes, there is a problem. There would be a problem. I'll look it up and tell you sometime.
Thank you.
Okay. Now coming back to the question, she had a question. What is Ritu Rasha? Exactly. So the question was, she asked, Shashi Santaha ityatra jashtvam kriyate. Dakaraha katham. You have to do a jhalam jashvante ityana shakarasya jastvam kriyate. Jastvam nama vargasya tritiya aksharaha. Okay, Sunila?
It's Ritu Rashana Murda. Sana being same. Aksha and
right.
They are Savarna, and therefore, since that is followed by
correct.
that's the
So
it is do is converted into show is converted into two out of that being a judge, it's the third this one it gets converted into the.
Correct. So jash is the third letter of the varga, which is gajadadava. Sthanataha antaratamyad. Shakarasya sthanam murdha. Gajadadava ityetesham madhye dakarasya sthanam murdha. Tasmat shakarasya jastum iti chet dakara eva kriyate. Is that clear?
Dhanyavadah.
Ha. Okay. Any other questions? Okay.
Soumya ji, this is Padanta Adesha, right? That we need to recognize that shash as the Padasanya.
Yes, there is shash, there is supratyaya, and there is lopa of the supratyaya, so it becomes pada. You do not hear the supratyaya here because the halanta padas, all of them, there is lopa of the supratyaya. So since the supratyaya was there, we use that and say this is suptingantam padam ityanena padatvam asti parante vidyamanatvan shakarasya jastum.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, we'll stop here. Enakshara samam nayam adhigamyam. Okay, sorry, there was one more question by Ravi which I forgot. Sant saha. After sant saha, can we apply chayodvitiya shri? Yes, we can. Sanat saha. Sanat saha. Yes. Chayaha kharipare. I think, I'm not sure, because I think Chayodvitiya Shari is a Vartika which is told in the previous sutra. I think Chartva is asiddha to this. I'll find out. I have to see where Chayodvitiya Shari is there. If Chartva is asiddha, then there won't be thakara. But if Chartva is siddha, then there should be thakara. Sarvan Kamant Samashnutaiti. I'll find out, Ravi. Okay. Enakshara samam nayam adhigamya maheshwarat kritsnam vyakaranam proktam tasmai paninaye namaha vakyakaram vararuchim bhashakaram patanjalim paninim sutrakaram cha pranatosmi munitrayam namaskritya taduktih paribhavya cha vyakarana siddhanta kaumudiyam virachyate.